To determine if something is influence or manipulation, you must ask the question, who benefits from the outcome? If you're trying to get someone to do something that's purely for your benefit or pleasure, you're manipulating him. Manipulation also often includes drama and or emotional blackmail. On the other hand, influence provides significant benefits for both people, and most importantly, the freedom to choose one's own actions. If you engage in a behavior just because you want something, you're not freely choosing your actions either. What you do is totally dependent on the outcome. And if it doesn't go the way you'd like, you won't be a happy camper. And unhappy campers tend to make themselves and other people miserable. Neither does manipulation create a satisfying relationship. A marriage that operates on the basis of quid pro quo is not love. Keeping score sets you up for competition. The truth is, when one person wins, both people lose, no matter if the winner is the husband or the wife. To influence your husband, you need to know how he operates as a member of the opposite sex. What is he thinking? How does he feel? Why does he do the things he does instead of something else? You know what you need, but do you know what he needs? At the top of his list are respect and trust. Now, respect should be an easy one, except that women often base their willingness to respect their husbands on whether or not he deserves her respect. However, all people deserve respect. Yes, all. Because we're created in the image of God Himself. Therefore, you can choose to respect your husband because of who you are, not because of what he does. You have respect for God, and you demonstrate that by respecting the creatures of His creation, starting with your husband. Men actually shut down and or get angry when they're being disrespected. Some women I know do this intentionally. That is, they know beyond a shadow of a doubt that they are being disrespectful. But that's not the most disturbing thing about disrespect. Unfortunately, most women actually do disrespect their husbands, but they don't even know that what they're doing or saying feels disrespectful to their husbands. Thus, women who want their husbands to be better men absolutely must do an inventory on this one. Now, you may think that you're just being straightforward or reasonable, but if he's not growing as a husband, father, and or leader, then something must be getting lost in translation. For example, your husband feels disrespected when you undermine him, advise him, or command him. So what does that look like? Well, you undermine him when you contradict him in front of others instead of having a private conversation about your difference of opinion. You say something to your child like, "No, you don't have to do that, sweetheart. Your dad's just being way too hard on you." You give him unsolicited advice anytime your sentence begins with, "You should," or "Why don't you?" Seems like we're just making a suggestion, but it actually comes across as judgmental. Finally, you command him when you tell him to do something, rather than ask that he do something. For example, take this upstairs, instead of, "Would you mind taking this up as you go?" Now, trust is a different matter altogether. Not everyone deserves your trust. Trust has to be earned. Once that trust has been broken, it can take a ton of consistent work to regain it. A long and painful process, especially in cases of infidelity. However, the time and effort will be well spent and often produces an even stronger bond than before the breach. So, influencing your husband starts with respecting him, and respecting him begins with being able to see how he sees life. In other words, what he thinks, how he feels, and why he does the things he does instead of something else. Now, you don't have to agree with him. That's not the equation here. You were actually created to bring another perspective. What you do have to do is understand where he's coming from. And that's why I created A Wise Woman's Guide to Men in Marriage.